We made it, part 3 of my chat and sketch tour with artist Stephen Bauman. In this video, we talk about drawing, like a sculptor. If you like how Stephen draws, and you want him to be your teacher, check out his masterpiece demo at proko.com/Bauman. It's a super in-depth series on drawing a realistic portrait from start to finish with graphite. The man really knows how to drop knowledge on you, so go check it out at proko.com/Bauman. Here we go.
The sculpture on this table here, is this yours?
This is by Audal de Juana.
Is that one of those guys?
That is Grzegorz Guiasta.
Okay, so I follow both of those guys on Instagram. They're amazing. So do they inspire your drawings?
Absolutely, beyond the shadow of doubt.
Their forms are kind of broken in areas and mold into each other.
One of the things I really love about what they're doing is it comes out of the technical side of it, which is when you're sculpting, right? Or at least I can speak to Florence Academy sculpting method. A lot of it's from the inside out. There's not actually a lot of carving away. Very little carving away. In fact, if you're carving away from the surface, that means you haven't done other things correctly. So they're building on these high point lines and filling in volumes. So what they have is, at a certain point, they have these like really kind of deep volumes at the surface, right? And they're taking clay and kind of filling in those volumes to model the form at the surface, right? Now, if you have left behind like a very deep form, you would say that deep form is under-modeled. I know what you're thinking, Stan.
What?
Stop thinking it. I'm drawing 2 concentric
Oh no,
lines.
I wasn't. I was checking them under. You're drawing so small. I don't think people will see this.
All right, wait a minute. Let's get.
What were you thinking?
But so you have like 2 forms, right?
Yeah.
And what you're going to be doing is, in order to create the surface form that you want in that sculpture, you're going to be filling in with clay. Okay. But if you're modeling the forms of the face or some of the subtle, like, anatomy of the abdomen, they're not going to be super deep forms.
Right.
Right?
But why are they starting with a deep crevice like that?
Think about like the front of the rib cage, right? You have a plane that goes basically up to the costal cartilage, which if you were blocking it in, you could say was fairly flat. After that costal cartilage, then you begin the kind of the long turn of the ribs back to the angle of the ribs at the back of the rib cage, right? So they know where the high point is, the next high point, and the next high point, and they fill volumes in after that. Okay. Now, sculpting like surface form is not dissimilar. So what's the high point of the pec major, right? Follows along pec minor.
Got it.
So you go sternum, pec minor, out to where it inserts under the deltoid, right? And those are your kind of high point lines that you start by sculpting. So what I wanted to do is kind of establish what over modeling versus under modeling is, right? So if you have under modeled the form, it means the creases in your form are too deep to represent what you're trying to represent, right? What's interesting in what I notice Audal doing is that he'll actually over model. He'll actually soften out, like even if this form is supposed to be like this, he'll actually fill that form in more than what it's supposed to be. And it has this effect of like, I don't know, it just really softens the impression that we have of the figure.
Around the ear in this one, there's really deep creases.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he has areas of undermodel and areas of overmodel that kind of balance out into a really, it's kind of like a fashion drawing.
Yeah.
Where some areas are super sharp, super detailed, and others are just noise.
Yeah.
And
but like it goes back to, and this is the fascinating thing for me, it goes back to a spectrum like this. He's working with the language of modeling.
Yes.
Right.
But he's not copying nature. He's changing it.
He's evoking things from it, And I think when you start to work with these spectrums, right, line quality, right, form modeling quality, value quality, all these things are on a spectrum, and you can play with that. You can key all of the lines in your drawing towards this. The whole drawing is a soft cloud, right? It evokes something. The harder that it is, it evokes something, right? But these are all like technical things that you can manipulate to create expression. Most of the artists or at least that start out, they do these things incidentally. We're just drawn to crisp lines and hard stuff, so we just do it. But if you think about that just as one flavor in a vast recipe, right? One sound in an orchestra, you can really kind of craft expression based on these ideas or manipulating these ideas. And that's something that really like I really get into. So and when I notice other artists doing that, it's probably the thing that I kind of am most stimulated by when I see people like tweaking that, playing with that, playing with the idea of resolution versus abstraction, chaos, which is what you're talking about with this sort of, this dynamic. Fetching, it's a great example. Linear form, blasted out atmosphere, right? What do those evoke when you combine them?
Yeah.
All right, so this is a really talk about an idea I've had for years and that I've never fully thought through.
Just thinking about butts all for years.
You're thinking about those forms that were over and under modeled, aren't you, Stan?
Yeah.
I love the ideas. If you've ever seen like antique sculpture, you go to the Metropolitan, you go to the ancient Greek and Roman wing, and they have these things that are like unearthed from Pompeii, or like the famous Belvedere torso that Michelangelo was supposedly there for when they pulled it up from the ground in Pompeii. Like he was there, and supposedly it was a huge kind of influence on him, and it was kind of later kind of Mannerist work, right? But the idea of like a sculptural fragment is fascinating. And actually I worked on it as well with this. So like if you how to crop the figure in such a way as a sculptor would do, right? That you kept a particular movement or a particular beautiful thing and you excerpted other things, right? You left them out, you took them away so that we could focus on this one particular kind of movement. Yeah. And it's actually very commonplace in modern figurative sculpture, and very common in antique sculpture museums because literally this stuff got broken.
Yes.
But now like it's become almost like a mode of communication for contemporary sculptors, and I was always, this fruit is still on the vine for me. Can you make drawing fragments? Can you take a part of the figure out, but present it as a whole? Not as like, this is a vignette that I just draw the pectoral muscle and everything's soft and hazy around it, but to create an item, like a subject that's contained and cropped, with a formal theme in mind.
Well, when you do that, doesn't it just kind of look like a sculpture, like you drew from a sculpture?
Maybe, but of course this is drawn from life.
Yeah.
But like I want to do that thing because of course they're sculpting from life as well. But they're saying like, so there's a very it's a thing that you go through in your second or third year, I think, at the academy in Florence, where you'll sculpt a life-size torso. Every student that does it has a subtly different cropping. They take the arm off here. They find that the movement from the arm up on this side down to the leg on this side is really dynamic and interesting. I want to emphasize that by taking away this part, putting that part back in.
That's an interesting exercise.
I think it's fascinating.
That's really cool.
But for 2D artists, the manufacture of our work doesn't like make that happen on its own. It's actually easier to kind of just draw the whole figure. Yeah. For a sculptor, it's actually easier to like not sculpt the head.
Right.
But I've always been thinking, how can you make that, but also here's what it's actually up against. The hard place that it's up against is it looks amputated. It doesn't look that way in a sculpture. Because you accept it as this entity, this thing that exists, and it looks like it was just broken off. Here it looks like I drew everything that was there, but there was no arm there. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe you don't get that sense.
No, I don't. I get that. I just associate it with a sculpture that was broken.
I've primed you to think that. I talked to you about fragments, and then we looked at this.
Maybe.
Now you're seeing it.
Get out of my head.
So long story short, that's what I was kind of trying to do with this one is like, what movements can I take in or what things can I leave out? And how can I manufacture like a drawing space or a picture plane in which that's like acceptable, right? Like this is actually a very different look than this.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you keep the rhythm going. You indicate that it is there. Yeah. It's just lost.
Yeah. And a little bit of value actually goes a long way in terms of doing that, right? So like, just like I talked about how lines are signaling things, values are signaling as well. Here, this value says that there's a down plane that's hidden away from the light, and then this is an up plane on top of the trapezius, right? If I use that value in this shadow plane, but it also echoes outside the figure as well, there's a kind of, maybe it puts the cropping a little bit under the carpet, to where we don't actually think about the arm stopping there because the value's kind of hiding a little bit in ambiguity, like a kind of a smoky atmosphere, the ending of the arm. Whereas if I just draw an outline around it like this, you kind of go, it looks like it's...
Well, that's harder to do if the arm is actually in front of the body. Like this is behind and you can lose it into the background. Yeah. What if it's a foreground? Like this arm is kind of closer, so...
It's tough. I should try this on that one. That's what I got to do.
Yeah.
But again, this is a fruit that's still on the vine. Like I haven't really like dug too deep into this yet.
Yeah.
But it's evolving. I'll come to it eventually.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on your Instagram. You don't post too many of these things. You post more like finished stuff like this.
Yeah, like always, my anatomical studies. I mean, like I know they're kind of. I feel like they kind of look cool.
Yeah.
But they're maybe just more incidental to me. You know.
Do you post these like in your stories or something?
No, maybe I should.
You should.
I should do
Yeah,
that.
people would love to see this stuff.
Yeah.
I would.
All right, Stan.
Gotta click on your stories all the time.
I'm tagging you. I also want to do eventually. I want to do some videos actually of dissections.
Like a human dissection?
No. Like my technique of. I mean, I know that other people do probably something similar to this, but I feel like it's something I kind of, I developed when I was studying anatomy for myself.
Yeah.
Which was like just trying to the best of my ability, to draw the body as an écorché, to draw it without skin and fat, and to kind of look more deeply into that. And I've like really evolved a technique in doing it that I think is actually probably really instructive and interesting, but I've never committed to like putting it on celluloid, on USB or whatever the data vehicle is.
Well, thank you so much for showing us all this. I'm pretty sure that it's going to be useful for people.
Yeah, we got a ton more too. We still got to talk about the drawings that are almost finished.
Yeah, we're going to walk around your studio and talk about that, and then we got to record your portrait. So yeah, guys, if you want to see that portrait demo that he's going to record, proko.com/Bauman, and then go check out more of his stuff on his Instagram website. Support him at Patreon at Stephen Bauman Artwork. Right?
Stephen Bauman Artwork.
Yeah. .com, and then also that's his handle.
Yes, on Instagram.
Cool. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Thank you, Stan. Let's go have lunch.